Good evening, Masterminds. Welcome to the Open Mind. I am Mastermind Naeem. I am your host this evening, standing in for our regular host, Mastermind Stan Anderson. The Open Mind is our weekly Wednesday evening forum of the Motivation Readers Mastermind Network. This evening, we have a special guest who most of us may not be familiar with, but who may, by his great works, have touched our lives. Our guest has a BA in Applied Mathematics with a minor in Physics and a minor in Land Surveying, Topographical Drawing, all from Ferris State University, Big Rapids, in the state of Michigan. He is the creator and owner of Every.Black. The mission of Every.Black is to assist entrepreneurs to create wealth through entrepreneurship by leveraging technology and a strategy of global networking. Every.Black is a member-based company where entrepreneurs can join through the website www.every.black. To achieve the mission, weekly mastermind meetings are held in Raleigh, North Carolina, and in Dallas, Texas. Our guest speaker is a past president of the Raleigh-Durham Charter of the S.B. Fuller and Joe L. Dudley Sr. Mastermind Businesses Meeting. The group educates and provides networking opportunities for entrepreneurs. He worked as a FileMaker database developer from the year 2000 to the year 2015 and as a contractor and employee of numerous corporations, including Apple Computers, Inc., Design Masters Associates, Right Minds Marketing Agency, and Child Care Services. Mr. Jimmy Davies, the owner of Mac Masters Computer Services, a computer training and database development company, was founded in 1988. He conducts computer training workshops in more than 30 cities throughout 8 southeastern states. He has trained over 5,000 individuals. He has trained over 5,000 individuals on a wide variety of Macintosh softwares. Some of his clients include NASA or Langley Research Center, all branches of the U.S. military, the Navy, the Marines, the Army, the Air Force, and the Coast Guards, Jefferson Laboratories, General Dynamics, the College of William and Mary, DuPont, General Electric, Hampton University, Duke Medical University, and many other corporations. He has been a presenter and a panelist about technology for numerous conferences around the country, including 2 occasions at the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, Inc. in Washington, D.C., Apple's Boston Macworld, and the Sickle Cell Anemia Conference in Miami, Florida. He has traveled extensively throughout East Africa and Asia. He is a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity, Inc., a member of the U.S. Chess Federation, and most of all, a proud father and a proud grandfather. And this is only a short version of our guest bio. Now, I present to you Mr. Jimmy Davies. Sir, the mic belongs to you, and after your presentation, we are looking forward for an interesting Q&A session. Masterminds, Mr. Jimmy Davies, thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Thank you. As you were reading that, I was like, who is this guy you're talking about? But yeah, it's all true. But good evening, Masterminds. It's really my honor.
Good evening, Mr. David.
Well, thank you. It's really my honor to be your presenter tonight. And I was thinking of what to share with you, and I'm just going to share my story. And I'm going to keep it brief. I told Mastermind Naeem, if I'm going long-winded, stop me and let me know. Won't get upset about it. But I thought I'd tell you my story from the very beginning. But anyway, my parents, I'll start in. My father was born in 1893. Think about that. My father was born in 1893. He was 60 years old when he gave birth to me. Mm-hmm. Now, my mom, she was about 22 years younger, and she lived to be 102. We just lost Mom about a year ago at an age of 102. She almost made 103. But wow. My father, he finished the 8th grade. My mom finished high school. But two things that they always instilled in myself and my sister: one, get an education. They said if you get an education, that is something no one can ever take from you. And the second thing that they really stressed to us is if there's a will, there's a way. Basically, if you're willing to work hard enough for it, you can achieve anything you set your mind to. And I believe them. And it's proven, it's carried me this far anyway, and I'm not going to stop now. But as I became a young man, I thought that I wanted to become a land surveyor, surveying property, when you buy a home, and got into going into my last year and decided I really didn't like this. So I went to my counselor and I said, look, I just need to graduate. And so he said, well, you've got taken a lot of math. So my degree is in mathematics, but it really wasn't by design. I was just trying to get out of school. And ended up with a job with the Social Security Administration as a claims representative, taking applications for Social Security. But all along, I was always trying little business enterprises. I really didn't know what I wanted to do at the time, but I sold newspapers. I had a janitorial service. I even had a little lunch wagon. When you go to the county fairs, you can buy hot dogs and things like that. I tried that one year. I sold Amway. And one thing I just want to stress, I think the theme of my presentation I want to share with you tonight is when you have a dream, don't be afraid to pursue it. Sometimes you can't see the outcome or see how to get there from A to Z, but you just go from A to B, and you just take that next step. And I'm going to use the lunch wagon as an example. When I would go to work at Social Security, I would always pass this one house, and in the back of the house I saw this lunch wagon, lunch barn, like say at the county fairs. Well, one day I went and just knocked on the door and I asked them if, what they want to do with it, and I really didn't have the money to buy it, but I made a deal with them. I said, if you let me take it for the summer, I'll fix it up, repair it, and I'll sell hot dogs and things through the summer, and if I make enough money and I like it, then I'll buy it from you and keep it. But if I decide not to do it, or if I'm not making money, I'll give it back to you and it'll all be fixed up and repaired. So they agreed to it. So I hauled it home, worked on it, and for the summer went to the county fairs. I think I did about 6 county fairs, learned a lot, but I also learned that I didn't want to sell hot dogs for a living, so I turned in the lunch wagon. But it was a learning experience. The point is that if you have an idea, pursue your dreams to follow. You never know where that may lead. Well, anyway, after about 6 years with the Social Security Administration, I really realized it was really beginning to bug me that I really wanted to have my own business of some kind. So I got into real estate. I left Social Security Administration and decided I really didn't like real estate. So I had a second janitorial company, and actually the second janitorial company was beginning to make a little money. I'll tell you one more story with the janitorial company is that I would go knocking door to door in the business park, just handing out flyers. And one day I was in the business park, and there was one small building at the end of the street. And I decided, they don't need a janitorial business service. This building is too small. But I said, well, I'm here. I might as well just go knock on the door anyway and talk to them. So I went down there, and sure enough, they didn't need a service. But I never will forget, he says, no, we don't need a service. He says, but go over to the airport and talk to my friend George. They're taking contracts right now. Sure enough, I went over to the airport, and I landed the biggest janitorial contract I ever had, because I took a chance to knock on that one little door at the end of the street. You just never know. So anyway, after about 3 or 4 years of janitorial service, and the business was going fairly well, we were making a living at it and had to hire on a few people to help us out. We used to measure our success in how many toilets are we cleaning tonight, because we're cleaning 50 toilets. We must be improving, because, a year ago we were only cleaning 20 toilets a night. So we measured our success on how many restrooms and toilets we were cleaning. Well, in the fall of 1987, by this time I figured I kind of like being an entrepreneur, but I'm still trying to figure out what do I really love to do. And in the fall of 1987, a friend of mine showed me a Macintosh computer. They hadn't been out that long. And I knew immediately, I got to get into this computer thing. I could see it. I can see it even today. I remember being shown the computer and thinking, oh my gosh, I got to do this. So in January of 1988, I started telling people I'm in the computer training business, and I can teach you how to use your Macintosh computer. But I tell people I had two problems. One, I didn't have a computer. The second problem, I didn't know how to use a computer at that time. But I was determined that I was going to be in that computer training business. So what I did, I would go and buy the books. I couldn't afford a computer at the time, but I could afford the books. And I would buy the books, and I would read the books on how to use the computer. And if the customer wanted help, I would use their computer to help them. Well, as it turns out, I kept beating the bushes, and I got one small job to train one secretary for one day at NASA. Like I said, you just never know, so you have to just try. And we trained one secretary for one day. And a little later on that summer, I approached the Army, the U.S. Army, and I told them, so we just completed a training project with NASA. Now, I didn't tell them it was just one person, but they gave me a shot. And that's when we really began to take off, when I did training for the Army. Because every 2 or 3 months, they had a constant flow of new people coming in. And then we started picking up other businesses and things all over the place. Now, you have to kind of think this is in the 90s. And in the 1990s, no one knew how to use the software. I mean, the software was coming out, like now we take it for granted, Microsoft Word and Excel and PowerPoint and Illustrator and Photoshop. Like I said, I didn't go to school for it, but I just fell in love with it, had a passion for it, and had a knack for it. And I began to realize that no one knows how to use any of this software that's coming out. So I said, well, at the time I lived in Newport News, Virginia, and I was doing a lot of work in Newport News and Hampton. But I said, well, let me try other cities to see if there's a demand. And so I did a workshop, just a test workshop in Virginia Beach. Sure enough, filled up for the entire week. And I tried some smaller cities in Virginia. Sure enough, same thing. And so that's when I knew I'm on to something. So what we did, I said, I want to try. I went to the library, actually, at the time, before you can Google everything. Went to the library and got the telephone books. And I could see that in Atlanta, there were computer training services. And in D.C., there were computer training services. So I didn't want to go there. But there was no one in Greenville, South Carolina. There was no one listed in Charleston, South Carolina, Savannah, Georgia, Greensboro, North Carolina, Lexington, Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky, Mobile, Alabama, Montgomery, Alabama. You get the idea. So I'm realizing that there's no one there in these cities to offer computer training, teach people how to use computers. So at the time, there were two very well-known magazines called Macworld and Mac Today. And Macworld was a computer for Macintosh users, and Mac Today was the same thing. So I went to Macworld, I called them, and I said, I would like to get a list of all the people to get your magazine in the state of North Carolina and South Carolina. And I forget how many thousands of people there was. I'd say maybe 5,000. I'm just throwing a number. I can't remember exactly the number. But the point is, these were people that were getting Macintosh magazines. I figured if they're getting Macintosh magazines, they must have Macintosh computers or they're interested in it anyway, and they probably need help. And to mail out 5,000 flyers, print them up, mail them, book the hotels, get enough computers to train the people, I didn't have the money, so what I did, I sold my car. Sold my car to generate enough money to launch the first set of workshops. And I learned, too, not to just do one workshop, but I would schedule 5 workshops at a time. The reason is you want to spread out the risk. If I put all my eggs in one basket in one city, what if that city doesn't happen? But by doing 5 cities at a time, maybe one city didn't work, but the other 4 would come through, and it worked. And within a year, I think I bought a new car and bought my first home. And that's when we really started doing a lot of traveling, a lot of training. I had to bring on other instructors, had an office manager, a marketing person, and all we did was going from city to city, teaching people how to use computers. And about that time, too, I really did go back to NASA, and I had a 2-year contract this time, a serious contract, not just one secretary one day. 2 years I taught people how to use computers at NASA. Well, around the year 2000, and I hope that as I'm telling my story that you start to see some lessons in there. You got to take some risks, educated risks, not just, but you have to take some action. And you also have to be aware of the current, I guess, the climate, what's going on at the time. So around the year 2000, I realized the demand for training was beginning to die down, subsiding. And so I started specializing in database development, helping companies manage data, because I would teach people how to use database, FileMaker, the database, and they would just say, well, can you just do it for me? And after about 3 or 4 of those jobs, I realized there's a need there. So I specialized in FileMaker database instead of trying to learn all the software, keep up everything every year. It was beginning to be a pain. I didn't have to travel as much because I was just on the road constantly. And so for about 15 years, I was working as a FileMaker database developer. And then around the year 2015, I realized that I had always been helping other people with their computer needs. I was always helping others do what they wanted to do, achieve their goals. So I started to think, well, what do I want my goals to be? What do I want my legacy to be? And I started thinking I really wanted to have a business that uses technology that helps other entrepreneurs or helps others. I wasn't focusing on entrepreneurs at the time, but helps others by using technology. I knew that I had learned a lot, and I'd seen that a lot of people really were still not aware of all the capabilities of using technology. So started that, and in the summer of 2015, and within a few months, I had an invitation to attend a meeting held by Dr. Joel Dudley Sr. of Dudley Hair Care Products. And I'm sure Stan has talked about Dudley Hair Care Products. In fact, I met Stan Anderson through Joe Dudley. He's a legend, and he holds these weekly meetings in his home every week, still does it. And I attended those meetings for about a year and a half, every week religiously, learning from him everything that I could. And he really got me to understand the importance that we have to think of ourselves as the entrepreneurs, as the owners, as the job maker, not the job taker. And so I realized that I needed to focus my technology skills on helping entrepreneurs. So around that time as well, I made a short video on the importance of being an entrepreneur. And it's on YouTube now. It's called The Anatomy of a Black Entrepreneur. The Anatomy of a Black Economic Movement, excuse me. The Anatomy of a Black Economic Movement. So I made the short video. And within a month, I get a call from a Bishop Michael Bates out of St. Louis, Missouri. Now, I didn't know Bishop Bates, and he didn't know me, but he offered me, first of all, he wanted me to be interviewed on his radio show. And I said, sure, I'd be glad to do it. And that was around the year 2017, 2 years ago. And he said the interview went really well. I told my story, basically what I'm telling you tonight. He said if I'd come back and do a second interview, I did a second interview. After the second interview, he said, I would like to give you a radio show 1 hour a week. I was delighted. And so at first my thought was, well, how much is it going to cost me? He says, no, I'd like to give you a radio show. So I did that. I got a co-host, and we did 1 hour a week for 3 months in the end of 2017 about entrepreneurship. And because we delivered on that, and we always had our shows prepared, by the beginning of 2018, he called me and says, I'd like to give you 7 hours a week to program. So that's when I said, okay. And so I started calling on people that I had met through the Mastermind groups, including Stan and Doris and other folks, to, hey, would you like to have a radio show on 881? I can't do 7 hours. And then within another month, Bishop Bates called me back again and says, look, we'd just like to give you the whole 24 hours. Program it any way you want. So again, we took on the challenge and started pulling in other people to provide shows, content about entrepreneurship. So we had one show for women, one for youth. We had an accountant on talking about accounting practices for businesses, and an attorney, one on networking. One guy has come out of prison, and he has his own business now in Raleigh, so he has a show helping people that were coming out of prison to have their own business, and one on the history of black entrepreneurs. And I know I'm leaving out some. One on public relations. We got our first international host out of Jamaica who does international business. So we did that for a year and a half of creating shows, telling people about, teaching about entrepreneurship, and including your Mastermind show is one of those shows that's on there. Every Monday we did that for a year and a half. And then after a while we realized we started looking at podcasting, because how can we monetize all of this work that we've done, creating over 1,800 episodes. And we got about 40 people creating over 1,800 episodes in that year and a half about shows about entrepreneurship and sharing it with people all over the world. So we started looking at podcasting, and as of June 3rd of this year, we launched the Every.Black Entrepreneur Podcast Network. So we're no longer on 881. We have very good terms with 881 and Bishop Bates. So we wanted to control the programming ourselves. And now we're on 7 days a week on 881 on the Every.Black Entrepreneur Podcast Network. Starts at 881 how to have it. We've been doing it for so long. But anyway, so the way you get to our shows is you can go to entrepreneurship.black, www.entrepreneurship.black. We release 4 shows a day, and we're looking for additional content to help teach people about entrepreneurship. And the only other thing I was going to add, the other thing that we do with my company, Every.Black, the podcasting is a big portion of that. But the other thing that we do is we have weekly mastermind meetings, face-to-face meetings, every Monday evening. One of the ladies who was attending our Monday evening class just happened to move to Dallas. And at her last meeting here, she said, I'm going to really miss the meetings. She told me that she's going to really miss the meetings. And I said, well, just start one in Dallas when you get there. And I, without even thinking about it, I just said it, I wasn't even serious. I was just like, just start it in Dallas. And she took me up on it. She got in touch with her mentor. She said she was at the beauty salon with the other ladies, and she was telling them about what we were doing here. And now they're actually forming our first chapter, which will launch on September 9th in Dallas, Texas. So it's like you can't make this up. I mean, the thing is, God is good. You can't foresee the things that are coming, but you have to take action. And if there's anything else that I want to stress tonight is we all have talent, skills, and dreams.
Dennis.
You've got to take action on the things you're doing. If somebody's got their phone off the mute there.
Somebody needs to go on mute.
Let's get something straight.
Yeah.
We love it.
So the only other...
Mastermind, someone needs to go on mute, please. Thank you.
Yeah. The only other thing I was going to mention, like I said, we've got weekly mastermind meetings face-to-face. We list our members on the website, Every.Black. If you go there and click on the search button, you'll see all the members. And we also have a virtual conference. We held our first virtual conference on June 6th and 7th. Our next one is going to be October the 11th. And basically what we're doing is for a full day, we're just having a series of presentations. Just like if you were to go to a real conference, the only difference is you just come to our website and you can watch our presenters one after the other presenting their videos about entrepreneurship and teaching others. I think the next conference is going to be focusing on technology. How has technology changed your particular field or business? And I'm trying to think. I think that's about it. We're getting interest in having additional chapters, but right now we're just focused on getting the Dallas one up and running in Dallas, and we're looking to expand our podcast network so that we can have additional shows on our podcast network about entrepreneurship. And we're looking for entrepreneurs in all walks of life, different. We want to bring a variety. We want to bring in people that are in the trades business, or I had them laughing, you want to bring in a mortician. That's a big business. I want to bring in the beauty business. I want to bring in just a little bit of anyone. Like so we want to bring in a public relations person. We want to bring in videographers or photographers. Some of the things that we don't have now, we want to bring in some of those folks so that when they share their story, others out there listening will be able to benefit from it, and maybe that will be the trigger to help them get started as well. So I think that's about it. The only thing that last thing I want to share with you is, I think Dr. Joe Dudley helped me refine the message, and Bishop Bates out of St. Louis helped us to deliver the message. I want to share this African proverb with you, and it says that in order to learn how to cut down trees, you have to cut down trees. Basically, you got to just do it. Just start, and as you start, you'll learn. The doors will open, and you just don't know what will come around the corner. But if you don't start, it'll never happen. So anyway, I think I've kind of covered a lot there. So I guess I'll open it up for any questions. Or
Mastermind, Jimmy, thank you so much for a great story. This should be a book. I hope you will be writing a book of your life story, sometime if you have not yet started.
Well, that's actually one of my goals. I realize that, I need to get this in writing. And I've spoken to actually a ghostwriter because with my schedule, I'm not sure if I'll ever get around to it, but I've spoken to someone. They're helping me put together a book about my life.
Okay. Thank you so much. There is a lot of background noise. Masterminds, could you please check to make sure you're in a mute mode until you are ready to ask a question, please? Thank you. Mastermind Jimmy, I would like to start with 2 questions.
Mm-hmm.
And the first question, I would like you to answer this question as the last question for the night. Whenever you are ready to, to bring the program to a close, basically, because I believe we can listen to you all night. So you are the one who will be deciding when we stop, okay? And whenever you want us to stop, please tell us how is it, what can we do to help you? So that, when you answer that question, that will be the signal that we are coming to the closing of tonight's show. Okay, and the other question is, I was reading up on you because, I was given the opportunity to host the program tonight because of Mastermind Stan's traveling. And I came across something that is very interesting. And you have, partially answered it, but let me still direct the question to you. It is said that Mr. Jimmy Davies, at 64 years old, an age when most people would be thinking of retiring and, going off into the shades and to live a quiet life, that at this time in your life, you decided to invest your Social Security income and your life saving into launching Every.Black. Now, I find that to be extremely interesting. Could you, shine a little light on that for me, please? Why is it that at this stage of your life, you would be making such a bold move? I know you are a visionary, but could you, say something about this that will be beneficial to all of us? Thank you.
Sure. Well, I guess in a short answer, I just really feel that it's my mission in life. It's my purpose in life. I think that if I did not share what I've learned over these last 65 years, if I didn't share it, I think that would be, to me, almost sinful. I had this vision that I needed to do more than what I was doing when I was helping others, when I was working as a database developer. I knew there was more. I wasn't satisfied. Now, my daughter's grown, married. It's just me. My health is good. I knew that my Social Security would be kicking in. I had savings. So I realized if I don't do this now, even though, despite the age, actually I started, I think I was 62, but despite the age, if I don't do it now, it would never happen. If I had not started this, there would have been no podcast network. At least it wouldn't have been by me. We wouldn't have a chapter in Dallas. We wouldn't be on this phone call. I just always believed, going back to what my parents always says, was if there's a will, there's a way. And I just knew that there was more in me that I wouldn't have been satisfied. I would not be satisfied with my life. I was still unfinished. When I was a youngster, I used to love sports. I still love sports. I don't play anymore, but I still love sports. And I would play football and basketball with my friends, and they would go off for the high school team, and I never did. Even though I know I was good enough to play with them as well if I had tried. And I always regretted that. And I promised myself a long time ago that I don't want to go through life with regrets. If there's something that I really want to do, want to try, then I go for it. And when you combine that with believing that these are my God-given talents, that they weren't given to me to sit on them. I think that would almost be selfish for me to just sit on them and not use them to better other people if I can do that. And so that's what I try to do. And I just, yeah. And I also believe that the reward comes, if you find something that you really are passionate about, helping others, the money comes. And I can see that happening. I've been seeing it happening over the entire period. It's not that it's easy, because it's not. But I see opportunities coming all the time. In fact, just today, with our podcast, we're two projects we're working on. I think they're going to be huge. Dr. Joel Dudley has been an entrepreneur for, 60 years. He's 82 years old now, maybe longer than that. He has saved his speeches and his videos from the last 50 years that he's been recording, all the sales meetings, all the lessons and the training. He has literally thousands of VHS tapes, cassette tapes, data, some DVD and some CD, and they were stored in his home, and he's got a garage in the back. And I asked Mr. Dudley, I said, Mr. Dudley, I says, there is a treasure here. I mean, your life story is here. And so he's agreed to let us digitize his life story and preserve it and share it through a podcast we're making just for him. You know, that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't taken that step 3 or 4 years ago toward this journey. So by using my technology skills, we're going to be preserving the legacy of someone like a Dr. Joel Dudley. And because of that, I was approached just today by another man who has been in the gospel music industry for 25, 30 years, has been producing shows, and he has, oh my gosh, he's got Sam Cooke and Mahalia Jackson. I mean, real recordings of these people. I can't think, Donny Hathaway when he sang gospel. The list goes on, and he has those recordings, and he came to me because he knew what we were doing for Dr. Dudley, and he wants us to preserve his work and preserve the history of black gospel singers and make that available over the internet in a podcast. Those things I didn't see coming. You know, you just can't see everything coming, but I know that it fits in line with what I'm supposed to be doing. And I have the ability, like I said, we have got a great team here. We've got the skills and the know-how. And so, God willing, we'll be doing those 2 projects, and who knows where those projects may lead once the word gets out for preserving the history and legacy of those of African-American gospel singers and also Dr. Joel Dudley Sr. So that's kind of a long answer, but I get passionate about it. It's like I could not do what I'm trying to do. I couldn't be at peace with myself.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I know, there are other masterminds who must be.
Mastermind, I just want to let you know that I'm on the line. I've been able to be on for the entire call, but there's so much noise in the background. Jimmy, I want to thank you so much. I'm actually going through the screening process right now, so I'm going to actually have to pin up the call. But I just want to thank you all for being on the call tonight. I love you, and I'll talk with you guys hopefully all tomorrow night. Thank you again, Jimmy. Thank you, Mastermind. I love you all.
Bye, Daddy.
Thank you, Mastermind Stan. So I know, the masterminds must be really bubbling with questions. Could we make our questions as short as possible, please? So, Mastermind, who would like to, ask their question?
Yes, hello. This is Mastermind Muhammad.
Go ahead, Mastermind. Where are you calling from, Mastermind Muhammad?
I'm calling from Pennsylvania.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Go ahead, please, Mastermind Muhammad.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Jimmy Davis. I have 2 questions. The first question is if you could just, repeat some of the, the YouTube channels and, some of those, podcasts that you do. I would really like to get some benefit from that. So that's my first question. And then my second question is, I'm a young college student, and, I'm 19 years old. I'm a sophomore in college. And I just really find it really difficult to find, a purpose to, for going to school, really, because, it's we learn a lot of things that's not so practical. We learn a lot of theory and stuff like that. And I just kind of really find a hard time buying into it. So I just wanted to know what your opinion was on that, and, what you think, how do you think I should, go about it?
Okay, well, to answer the first question, you can reach our podcast at Entrepreneurship.Black. It's www.entrepreneurship, all spelled out, dot with a period, black, dot black. It's no .com, no .net, just entrepreneurship.black. As far as the educational question, a couple of things to share. One, my parents, they always stressed education, so I'm going to stress education as well. However, some of the most successful entrepreneurs either were not in school or never completed school, but they still got an education. Most successful entrepreneurs are avid readers, and it is so important, and that's something I have to constantly work on myself, but you really want to be an avid reader. I think S.B. Fuller, the man that mentored Joe Dudley, he had, I believe, 18 months of education. Henry Ford did not have a formal education. I mean, the list goes on. Steve Jobs didn't finish college. So the list goes on, but the point is you still have to get an education. I don't know if that answers your question, but how you receive that education, that's another thing. Another thing is that one of the things that Joe Dudley always says is that when you take on a job, go there and find out what you can learn. He says a lot of times we'll go in thinking how much can we make, but find out how much you can learn. Because once you learn from that job, you'll be able to take those skills with you wherever you go, including starting your own business. But I'm not sure if I can answer the question as to what you in particular should do for your educational pursuits. But I do stress getting an education in some way, whether it's at a university. And I know one of the, I'm just going to share this as well. One of the things, technology has changed everything. Technology has changed the way we bank. Technology has changed our mailing system. It's changed the way we listen to music. You think about it, technology is made it possible for us to have this call tonight. It's changed everything. One of the last holdouts is the traditional university. By going to these schools, you end up a lot of times with a lot of debt by the time you come out. And I know a lot of them are offering online classes. So I can't tell you again what you in particular should do, but I do know that I think you're going to see a lot of changes in the educational realm, and a lot of that is coming through podcasting, where you can literally go online and learn just about anything you want to learn today through YouTube or podcast or things like that. So I don't know. I hope I didn't make the waters murkier for you. But the bottom line is you want to get an education. Now, where you get that education and how you pay for that, that's a different story. That kind of has to be a personal, I guess, solution you have to find for yourself. But you definitely want to continue to learn.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Mastermind Mohammed, thank you for that question. Is there another Mastermind who would like to have a question?
Yes. Hi, Mastermind Jimmy. Thank you. Mastermind Jimmy?
Yes. I think I heard Mastermind Rachel?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Tonight we're going to be really be gentle on the ladies, as we should, normally. So, Mastermind Rachel, can you go ahead, please?
Okay. Thank you, Mastermind Davies. Your bio is very impressive, and I was very happy that you did some work in a sickle cell, or you have some knowledge that helps with sickle cell care. My question is, what advice do you have regarding available technology that will help me market my biography to a larger audience? I'm trying to write my biography. And in other words, what softwares or websites I can use to market my book better? My second question is, how can I reduce the cost for my writing and publishing?
Boy, those are good questions, and I'm not sure if I'm the best person to answer. We have one of the ladies, actually two of the ladies that are on our podcast are authors, and they've written books, and I think what I'm going to do is I want to get you in touch with them And you can reach me at Jimmy, Jimmy, at Every.Black. My email, that's for anyone, actually. Anyone can email me at Jimmy, Jimmy, at Every, Every. Black, Black. But please write to me, and I'll get you the name. Her name is Carnella, and the other is Nevada, York, and they have both written books. They both self-published books, and they can really tell you how best to get your books out there. And I know Carnella's, actually, they both have been recognized for their literature. So I'm going to get you in touch with them because I haven't written a book, so I don't think I'd be the best source. But I do know that they used a lot of online resources for self-publishing and promoting their books. But I think it'd be best I get you in touch with them.
Thank you very much. I think what gave me the audacity to ask you this question is because you knocked on that door, and the door directed you. So I've knocked on your door, and I'm getting a good thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mastermind Richard.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
We'll take one more question, and then we'll answer that last question for you.
Okay. I heard a male voice. A male voice was about to ask a question when Mastermind Rachel was also doing. Would that person please come back with the question now? Okay. Going, gone.
Hello.
Is there?
Hello, yes. Good evening, Mastermind.
Good evening.
This is Mastermind Jimmy. Yes. First of all, I would like to thank you. I'd like to say good evening to all the masterminds that are on the call right now. And thank you to Mastermind Davis for blessing us with your presence this evening.
Thank you.
And my question is, when you said A to B, was that like walking in blind faith when you were, when you were trying these new things?
Well, I consider it walking in faith.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's exactly blind, but it's walking in faith. And a good analogy is, you're in New York? So
yes.
Where are you in New York?
I'm in Brooklyn.
If you were to drive, I'm in Durham, North Carolina. If you were to drive to Durham, can you see me? Oh, no, you can't see me. I can't see you. If you're getting in your car, you can't see me. But when you get in your car and you plot your course to Durham, North Carolina, you have all expectations to get there. But you're going on faith that you will get there. And you take the next mile and whatever turns you require. When you hit a detour, if there's an accident or something, you don't just stop and go home. You find your way around the detour. And that's an analogy that Dr. Joe Dudley uses. It's like when you're in business, you can't always see the end results because things are going to happen in a lot of cases that you don't know what God has in store for you all the time. But you still start. And you will get there if you don't quit. There's a very good video on YouTube that kind of emphasizes this, and I don't know the exact name of the video, but if you Google this, the green dot theory, GREEN .theory, and it's a guy, he talks about what it's like when you start a business, and you start, but in reality, you really don't know. It's a process. It's a learning process. When you start, you really don't know what you're going to encounter. But along the way, you will encounter opportunities. And as you take advantage of those opportunities, if you continue, things will continue to get better and better until you finally achieve and probably excel beyond your goal. But check it out. It's called the green dot theory.
Yes, I will. And one more small thing. How would you define success?
I think success has to be defined. Each individual has to define it for themselves. And I don't think it's just a matter of a dollar amount. We're in business to make money, but that's in most cases that really is not the driving force for successful business people. Usually They're driven by being able to help others in some way. So they usually are passionate about helping others in some way. For example, my personal passion is I want to help people create wealth through entrepreneurship and using technology to help them do that. That's my personal passion. How can I help others by using technology, help them to create wealth by using technology and entrepreneurship? And if I can do that, I'll be successful. And I believe that by doing that, that also the money will come. But it's not the main reason I'm doing it. But I truly believe that if I can help enough people achieve their goal, then I will, achieve any financial goals that I want. But that's how I define success for myself. And I think there's something we all have to define individually for each one of us. I mean, I can't tell you or anyone else what success means for you. We all have to figure that out for ourselves.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Sure.
So, Mastermind Jimmy, you said you'll be answering the last question at this time. And the question is, how can we help you in what you're doing?
Well, you can help, and I guess the short answer is join us. Help us educate others about entrepreneurship. If you've got skills, if you've got expertise in a certain area, we've got a platform, the Every.Black Entrepreneur Podcast Network. You can get there by going to www.entrepreneurship.black. Help us to educate others about what you know. We want to make the platform a place where people can go and obtain information about all types of businesses and services. Because there's a lot of people out there thinking about doing something, and if they see that you've done it, or maybe something that you can share with someone. And the other thing about it is you really never know who you're touching, because once you put it out there, it could be someone in Kansas that you'll never meet that could change their life. You just never know. But I think that's the biggest thing is we're looking for people to help us spread the message and to join us at entrepreneurship.black. And share the message as well. Tell people, visit the site, take a look at our podcast, and see what you think of it. Have any questions, feel free to let me know. But ultimately, if you have something that you can share to benefit others, then let's do it. We've got a platform to help you do that.
Mastermind Jimmy, thank you so much for a great presentation. And I am personally looking forward for your book, because your story is a story that needs to be told. Presently I'm reading a book that is entitled Build to Last, Successful Habits of Visionary Companies. And as an individual, you are exactly what this book says about companies that have been built to last. Companies that are, like 100 years, started 100 years ago and still going today, or 50 years ago and still going today. The principles that you have given us tonight they are the exact principles that the authors, James C. Collins and Jerry I. Progress, as stated in this book, Built to Last. And Mastermind, you are visionary and you are built to last. So Mastermind, I would like to introduce you to one member of our Mastermind group, of the Motivation Readers Mastermind. Is Mother Anderson on the line, please?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Mastermind Jimmy. This is Mastermind Mother Anderson. She is the mother of Mastermind Stan. Okay?
Wow.
And
wow.
she has a present for you from all of us. So, Mastermind Mother Anderson, can you deliver your present, please?
Yes, I will. First of all, Mastermind David, I really enjoyed you tonight.
It was so beautiful.
That's Mastermind Jimmy. Mastermind Jimmy, mother.
Oh, Mastermind Jimmy. Okay, Mastermind Jimmy, you did a wonderful job, and I just thank God for you. Thank God for you. I would just like to say, I just want to quote something here to you before I bring the poem to you that I'm going to say. And I'm going to quote something from Nehemiah 6:1-15, but I'm going to do the poem for you. I am not coming down. I'm doing a great work. That's for you. But here is the poem. Keep a going. My late mother taught me this as a child, so we're going to dedicate this to you. The entire group tonight is dedicating this to you. You're doing a beautiful job. Thank God for you. Keep a going. If you strike a thorn of a rose, keep a going. If it hails or if it snows, keep a going. It ain't no use to sit and whine if the fish ain't on your line. Just bait your hook and keep on trying and keep a going. If the weather kills your crop, keep a going. And if you tumble from the top, keep a going. Supposing you out of every dime, getting broke ain't any crime. Just tell the world you're feeling fine and keep a going. When it seems that all is up, keep a going. Drain the sweetness from the cup and keep a going.
Take time out, look at your boarding passes, and once Superman separates your family board when you.
See the wild birds on the wing. If you feel like sighing, sing, but keep a going.
Thank you so much. I'm really very honored. I don't know, even speechless. One thing, I want that poem. I'm going to frame it. I'm going to put it on my wall. Things like that.
All right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And thank all of you, Mastermind Naeem, and then all of the callers, Mastermind Stan, and I'm just really thankful for being able to share my story with you tonight. So thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Mastermind Stan, do you want to say something to wrap up?
Just once again, we're about to board our next flight. I just want to thank you, Jimmy. Thank you so much, Jimmy.
Sure thing.
So, Mastermind Jimmy, thank you so much. On behalf of the, other members of the Mastermind group, the Motivational Reason Mastermind, the door is open for you anytime. And we are looking forward to having you with us sometime in the near future. And, as a group, we will sit and discuss and see how, what part we can play in order to at least put a brick in the building of your vision. Thank you so much. Have a blessed night. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you all, Masterminds. Thank you all, Masterminds. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mastermind Jimmy. Thank you all, Mastermind. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Blessed. You did a beautiful job tonight.
Have a peaceful and restful night.